Let us now see how the user can create an expense against a travel. So let's log in here as the user. This is the user's dashboard as we have seen earlier. Here we create a travel expense. Once I click on the travel expense, you can see it shows a dashboard of all the approved travel requests or travels that are ready to be expensed. The system by itself does not let you create a travel expense if you have not selected or attached an approved travel, right? So these are the approved travels or completed travels. The user can now create an expense against this travel, right? So let's pick up this travel and create an expense against it. You can add expenses to this, right? I have already added a few expenses, but let me show you how to add an expense. For example, if you're adding a miscellaneous expense, you click on miscellaneous, right? And then you update the travel start date and the travel end date. You'll have to ensure that these dates for this expense, since it's linked to this travel, must be within these dates of the travel. Okay, so this was sometime in March, so let's quickly move on to March, and I say that this was on 17th of March. The base amount was 500. This was the invoice number, and the invoice date has to be sometime in March, so I select March in between the travel dates, and this is the vendor name, right? And if there's any descriptions or some comments as a user that I want to add, I can go ahead and add. And if this expense has GST, the GST information also can be added here, right? Assuming this is 5% GST and 5% CGST, right? The system updates that information. You'll have to upload a copy of the bill or an invoice. You click on save. As soon as I click on save, the expense summary on the right hand side will get updated with this expense, right? So I have saved it and it gets updated here. Now similarly, you can create expenses as and when you need, or more expenses that you want to add to this travel. And once you have your expenses created, you can click this and send to approval, right? So now this expense, if you want to see, you can click on the submitted, and this is the expense that we just submitted, and as you can see, it is waiting for approvals with approver 1 and approver 2. So let's quickly log out and log in as the approver. And approve this expense. I've logged in now as an approver. In the approver's dashboard, as you can see, there are some notifications that the system shows the number of travel requests or travel expenses that have been submitted and waiting for their approval, right? A similar notification also goes to the approver over an email. So let's click on the travel expense. This is the travel expense that the user just submitted. The approver checks all the information that the user has submitted, and if everything is in order, go ahead and approve, and so that it moves on to the next level. Or if there is something wrong with this, you can always update the comments here and click on the reject button so that it goes back to the user for resubmission. Okay, so let's quickly approve this travel expense. It goes on to the last step, which is the verifier step. Right, so this is the verifier's dashboard. As you can see, there is a link which says verifier. As soon as the verifier clicks on this link, all the approved travel expenses will now show. This is the one we just submitted. The verifier can check all the information, can go down and also check if everything is in order, can click and preview the bill, right? And then all the information that is associated with this travel expense. And if everything is in order, the verifier simply clicks on the verified button. Another important feature here is we can tag this to your budget as well, right? So that as a finance person, you will know what was the total budget and how much is spent and what is currently that's available, right? So once the verifier clicks on the verified button, this expense has now completed its creation, submission and approval process. This is now ready to be posted on the ERP systems.